students, what did you have in lunch today? I had roti sabzi. The sabzi was very tasty. Tasty, that's a word we often use, isn't it? But how do we know whether a food is tasty or not? Hello and welcome to Notebook, and let's learn what is the reason behind the foods tasting different. Not all of us like to eat bitter Karela. In our lesson, Jhumpa runs to her mother asking for gur instead of Karela to have with roti. We soon learn that Jhumpa loves sweets. Her sister Jhulan teases her, asking how she is not already bored of the taste despite of having so much sweet. The two sisters plays an interesting game, students. The game is pretty interesting and an easy one. You can also try this with your friends. Jhulan ties Jhumpa's eyes and she gives her different kinds of food to taste. She easily identifies them. Surprisingly, she cannot identify the Karela and actually eats them, finding them very tasty. So kids, how do you think she is understanding the tastes? Yes, with the help of her tongue. Taste buds are sensory organs which are present on the surface of the tongue. These help us to identify the different tastes like sweet, salty, sour and bitter. If you notice, you will see that our tongue has bumps all over it. These are the taste buds. Different parts of the tongue can taste different things. Do you know an average person has 10,000 taste buds on their tongue? Now that the food has touched the tongue, the next step is chewing. While chewing, you will see that the taste of the food changes before swallowing. The reason behind this is that the enzymes or juices that help in digesting the food are also present in our mouth while we eat the taste of the food when we chew it. But where do you think the food goes after you're done with chewing? Yes, you're right, we swallow. But where is the food going when you swallow? The food, once chewed, goes into the stomach through the digestive canal, and it further goes through a long process to get digested, in which all the necessary nutrients are absorbed by the body. You will study about this process in details in your higher classes. But what happens if someone is unable to eat? This happens to Neetu. Neetu was so sick that she is vomiting every time she eats and is getting very weak. Thus, her father gives her sugar and salt solution, yet she becomes dizzy and is about to faint. Her father takes her to the doctor urgently. The doctor checks her and tells that she needs a glucose drip. This confuses Neetu. So students, why do you think Neetu is confused? Yes, like you, she also thinks that glucose is something that we drink when we are tired, like on our sports day. But Neetu's doctor clears her confusion as she explains that the glucose drip is given externally, which gives strength quickly, even without eating, since it is the simplest form of food. This is given through the veins. Thus we understand that food, once gets into our body, does not remain in the exact form as we eat it. Many years ago, this information was not known to the people. We have a very interesting story from Anita Rampal about how people came to know about this. This is an entirely fictional story. She writes about a young soldier called Martin who was very healthy, but he got hit by a bullet and was seriously hurt. Dr. Beaumont was called to treat him, But after 1.5 years of treatment, he got better, but the only problem that remained was a flap on his stomach. Thus the doctor put a flap of skin to cover the hole, and they could easily move the flap and see inside his stomach. This gave Dr. Beaumont a treasure, as he could now easily find out how food is digested inside the stomach. We see this way Dr. Beaumont learned about the digestive system and also how the digestive juices work. Although this story is fictional, Dr. Beaumont did find out about the human digestive systems. He showed that food takes much longer to get digested outside the body than inside. Food is one of the most important elements for growth. We understand this when Dr. Aparna finds out about two of her patients, Rashmi and Kailash. We see that Rashmi, who's 5 years old, looks really weak. A 3-year-old toddler with a pot belly. She can't attend school regularly because of her health. She doesn't get food regularly, and on days she's lucky, she gets some roti or rice. Whereas Kaushik, though he is a 7-year-old boy, looks older than his age, but he is also not very active, since most of his activities does not require him to move. Moreover, he does not like eating home-cooked food and eats junk food from outside. We see that both these children are not very healthy, and the reason behind this can be seen from the treatment that Dr. Aparna suggests for them, that is a proper balanced diet which includes all the necessary nutrients in the right amount. But what we read about Rashmi is not her story alone. This is the story of millions of children in India who don't get proper food. The district of Kalahandi in Orissa suffers from one of the worst starvations, though Kalahandi is one of the largest producers of rice. What an irony, students, isn't it? Yes, students, from this chapter, we got to know a lot about food, from their tastes to their nutritional importance. But students, we need to always remember that foods are precious and we should never waste them. With this, we come to the end of this chapter. For more such videos, keep watching Notebook.